everyone, I am Dr. Lee from the Second Department of Internal Medicine, Semmelweis University, Budapest, Hungary. I'm making this video according to the request of a couple of my friends who are living in Canada, in America, and all over the world, and also the friends who work in Hungary but do not speak Hungarian. So this video is not for medical professionals because I'm just going to go quickly over COVID-19 and what it is and how we're doing and what is there on the horizon and what can you do at home. So first thing first, what is COVID-19? What is COVID? Actually, the word, it means coronavirus disease 2019, and it caused by SARS-CoV-2. It is an abbreviation of severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. So SARS-CoV-2. And it was confirmed, it was recognized first in December 2019 in Wuhan city, Hubei province of China. But actually a first confirmed case was found in back in November. And it become pandemic right now, just for you to have a up-to-date number. So all over the world, there is 2,495,994 positive case. And in that, we have 171,255 confirmed deaths. And it has spread over 185 countries. So 171,255 deaths, that is an equal amount of a small city in North America. So you can figure the the severity of this pandemic. So I'm from Hungary, so I'm just going to give some brief update on Hungarian number. So here we have 2,098 positive cases. In that, we have 213 confirmed deaths. So, very quick words with this 2,098 number. In my opinion, this is not the real number. So, because the thing is, in Hungary, only 50,052 tests have been done, and the population is more or less 9 million. So this means that we don't do enough tests. So the real number might actually be higher than 2,098. Anyway, so the 10 leading countries in confirmed cases, in the number of confirmed cases all over the world are America, Spain, Italy, France, Germany, UK, Turkey, Iran, China, Russia, and I'm ranking them. So I'm telling them in their rank. And then following up with Belgium, Brazil, Netherlands, Switzerland, Canada. So before we go into the symptoms, we have to understand what is SARS-CoV-2. What is this virus? So this is a coronavirus. It belongs to the coronavirus family. Why has the name corona? Because corona in Latin means the crown. So if you look at the virus under the electron microscope, it will look like it has a crown because of the spike protein, of course. And this virus has a very close relative to the virus that caused SARS, an endemic back in 2003, and MERS back in 2012. It is a beta virus. Why is it called beta virus? Because there's a lot of viruses. They name them, they categorize them from alpha, beta, gamma, delta, you know what, but it belonged to the beta virus genre. And this virus genetic material is actually a positive sense single-stranded RNA. And each virion, virion, it is around 50 to 200 nanometers in diameter. And it has 4 structural proteins. So the first protein that we saw is actually a spike protein that has a very high affinity for receptor angiotensin converting enzyme 2, which is abundant in the lung and in the GI tract. And then after that, we can find other 3 structural proteins, including the envelope, which stands for E, the membrane M, and finally, the N nucleocapsid, which holds the genetic material of this virus. Okay, I have a note. I'm always making note before I make public speech. How does it spread? So it spread from droplets, from cough or sneeze of an infected individual. And one single cough or one single sneeze, it can spread the viral droplets to up to 1.8 meters or 2 meters. But with the wind, it can spread up to 4 meters. But however, it's not just coming from the droplets of infected individuals. This, I'm talking about individuals with symptoms. So when they cough and they sneeze, then they spread the virus via their droplets, respiratory droplets. But what if they don't have any symptoms? The virus doesn't need droplets to be spread or to spread around. It needs aerosol, which exists in a respiratory breath of an infected individual that has no symptom whatsoever. So this is why this virus is virulent and very malignant in its spreading, because it spread easily. So what is this? What are the symptoms? You heard it. You already know about it. The three main symptoms that you heard it over and over again is high fever, dry cough, and difficulty in breathing. So statistically speaking, high fever make up 88% of confirmed case. What is high fever? Your fever runs really high, usually above 38.5, 39, sometimes 40 for a couple of days. What is dry cough? Another word is non-productive cough. So you cough up, but you don't cough up anything. So dry cough makes up 68% of all confirmed cases. And then we have difficulty of breathing, make up for 43% of all the cases. So COVID-19 difficulty of breathing, in other words, like more terminological, professional terminology, is dyspnea. So what is the difference between COVID-19 dyspnea and the normal difficulty of breathing in asthmatic person? It's easy. You know, like asthmatic person, they have wheezing. So they cannot breathe, but they have wheezing. For COVID-19, they cannot breathe, they are drowning. So, but I guess that all of you already, follow the news and watch YouTube and whatnot. Then you should know that in COVID-19, when it comes to the acute respiratory, acute syndrome, that distress syndrome, it means that in your lung there's a lot of fluid, or in other words, fluid accumulated in your lungs. So basically, you drown on land. That is how a COVID-19 patient feel when they have difficulty of breath. And recently, they also talk about GI problems, but GI problems such as nausea or diarrhea or, like vomiting only made up of 2 to 18% of confirmed cases, but this is a late onset. So meaning that beside those three initial symptoms, a late onset of people, they will complain about diarrhea. And the diarrhea is not coming directly from COVID-19. It might come from the side effect of all of the therapies they get in the hospital. So how do we test this COVID-19? There are two ways to approach. Two approaches. First, you can approach the test via RNA, or you can approach the test by serological way. So RNA, we use reverse transcriptase PCR, polymerase chain reaction, to define what is the level of the viral RNA in your swab, for example. It is more sensitive than the other test, serological testing. Serological testing actually use the level of IgG or IgM, immunoglobulin M and immunoglobulin G in your blood. So why is it less sensitive than a PCR test? Because usually when you get infected by a foreign body into your body, initially your IgM level or titer will be very high. It lasts for around a week. And then after that, your immune system kicked in and then it started to produce more IgG. If your immune system is strong enough and smart enough, then it started to build up IgG specifically against this SARS-CoV-2 virus. And it lasts around 2 to 3 months. And it's really hard to catch this kind of titer. If you have your serological test early on in your course of disease, obviously it will give a negative test result, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the virus. It doesn't mean that you're not infected. Probably you belong to that 80% of people, asymptomatic people, but actually infected. So that is how we test normally. But how do we confirm the test in the hospital? Let's say you develop symptoms and you find yourself very, very difficulty of breathing, and you have some sort of, like uncomfortable feeling at home. You call the ambulance and then they rush you into the hospital. So we perform a chest x-ray, see how your chest look like, and then another imaging test is called chest CT, computer tomography. So how do we treat you in the hospital? Obviously, if you're asymptomatic, we don't know whether or not you're infected to treat you. Maybe you get over the disease very fast, or you are having mild symptoms and then you just get over it a couple of days. But what if you get worse? So what doctors fear is that not because you're infected with COVID-19. What doctors fear is that the worst outcome of COVID-19 is actually acute respiratory distress syndrome. That's what we are fearful for. So when you get to us, what can we do for you? Currently, there is no solid regimen against COVID-19. So I repeat myself again. Currently, there's no single treatment regime that can cure COVID-19. What we can do is we try to combine mono or multi-therapy, try to help your body, stabilize your body so your body can actually fight the virus itself. So what are these options? First of all, you heard it, remdesivir. So this is a drug that it's not approved yet, but they tried it, but it seemed like not very effective against COVID-19. And then we try Calandra. This is anti-HIV therapy. It is a combination of two antiviral, lopinavir and ritonavir. So it is usually combined with interferon beta, or it goes really, really good with ribavirin. And you heard about chloroquine treatment, hydroxychloroquine, the famous drug out there, Plaquenil. That is the commercial name of the drug. It is the treatment for malaria or amoebiasis. But it seemed to be effective in COVID-19. The side effect is a prolonged QT, the QT interval, and it has a very high index for cardiotoxicity. And other regimen include antibacterial therapy. Why do you need antibacterial when you have a viral infection? Obviously, the worst outcome of COVID-19 is acute respiratory distress syndrome. So when you have something to do with respiratory distress syndrome, you bet you're gonna have some pulmonary infection. They call it pneumonia. So why do you have pneumonia? So when your lung is dysfunctional, mind you, inside the surface of your lung, there is some bacteria, but they are good bacteria. They exist. They don't cause war. They live there in peace with your body. But when you get sick, especially when your respiratory system is not that strong, these are opportunistic bacteria that will seize the opportunity to attack your lung tissue itself. So now, not only you have a viral infection, but also you have a secondary bacteria infection in your lung. So what the doctors do is they're gonna treat this lung infection, pneumonia, by giving you antibacterial therapy. And what are these? We can try azithromycin for atypical pneumonia, or we can try ceftriaxone or other antibacteria to try to keep these bacteria at bay. I got some questions about steroids. It's a no-no. Why? Because steroids actually decrease your immune system, and in a time of viral infection, you do need your immune system to work. So according to the new update, everybody's against steroid unless you have COPD, you have severe restrictive respiratory disease that you might need to have steroid treatment to open up your airway. Then you might need steroid, but common sense is a no-no. And then we're gonna give you some vitamin C via, like intravenous vitamin C to boost up your immune system, or we can try to support your total, your total health in order to get yourself at some state so you can be strong enough to fight the viral infection itself. But to be honest, we avoid fluid resuscitation. I got a lot of questions about fluid infusion. Why do we avoid fluid resuscitation? Well, the answer to the common folks is very simple, because you already know that when you get to the state of acute respiratory distress syndrome, it means that in your lung there's a lot of fluid accumulation, so we don't want to overload you with even more fluid. That is the reason why we try to avoid fluid resuscitation. So what can you do at home? You can do a lot of things. You can wash your hands, not necessarily with sterilized, alcoholic or non-alcoholic hand gel. You can wash your hand as much as you want with soap. Why? Because the virus is actually having a lipid membrane that is very extremely sensitive to a common steroid, disinfectant, or even soap. Soap can inactivate their membrane easily. You have to wear a mask in public. Now, this is a very controversial question, whether or not you should wear a mask in public. To be honest, the normal surgical mask has more or less, I'm trying to rephrase myself, has more or less 80% or 70% protection for you against the virus. Okay? But why you should wear a mask in public? It's not protecting you from others, but actually protecting others from yourself. What if you get infected and you are an asymptomatic person and you're walking around without mask, and then, you already know that this kind of virus love aerosol, right? It can survive in aerosol. It's not necessarily survive in droplets. Then if you breathe out your chameleon virions, and somebody breathed it in, obviously they're gonna get infected no matter what, right? So wearing mask, not necessarily surgical mask, you can wear a normal linen mask. You will protect others from yourself as well. I know it's very uncomfortable to wear masks, to wear goggles everywhere you go. It's for some people it's hard to breathe even, but try to get used to it because it's a good way to protect others from yourself, because you never know. As according to the statistic, 80% of people do not have symptoms, and these people can get over the viral infection easy, but you never know to whom you're gonna meet, and you might spread your infection to elderlies around you that you don't know. Or they don't need to be elderlies. They only need to be immunodeficient or immunocompressed. You don't know that person. If you spread the virus to them, chances for them to get into hospital are very, very high. So think for others, not just for yourself. So you wash hands, you wear a mask in public, and then you wear a goggle. Why? Because just think of the ways the virus try to infect you. So wherever you can find openings in your body, that is where the virus will invade your body, right? So where are the openings? Your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ear, those cracks that you found in the finger, anywhere that you find opening. And open wounds, right? So if you wear goggle, if you wear mask, you wear goggle, and you wear gloves, then that will protect you somewhat, or close some of your openings, right? And I get question about how come the virus cannot attack intact skin? Well, your skin made up of a lot of layers, 5 at least. And the outermost layer of your skin is actually dead skin. The cells there, they don't have nuclei, they are dead. And the virus, the two most requirements for the virion to replicate is it needs a living host cell with nucleus, right? So the uppermost layer of your skin, the dead skin, they don't have nuclei, so they are dead. They don't have enough material or organelles to help the virus. So even if the virus trying to get into these dead skin, it's not going to do anything for itself. So it's not helpful. That's why the virus cannot penetrate your intact skin. But in the contrary, if you have a wound, an open wound in your skin that expose the underneath layers, which contain living cells, then that's where the virus is gonna have a party for themselves. Anyway, so besides wash hands, wear masks in public, wear goggles, what else you can do? You can keep a safe distance, at least 2 meters. In my opinion, 2 meters is not enough, because if you go out, you walk, you run, with the wind, the virus can spread to 4 meters easily. So if you go out, do exercise, by all means, be my guest, you can do it, but try to do it not in a crowd. And you have to reinforce social distancing. I know it's really hard to, to isolate yourself in a house by yourself. To be honest, I'm isolating myself since the beginning of the pandemic. I stocked the food for 2-3 weeks, and then I ordered home delivery. Like, I try to minimize my people contact. It's really hard to do so. I miss my friend. I miss the hangout. I miss going out to see people. But we are in the wartime, so we need to sacrifice a little bit just to keep this pandemic at bay. Because guess what? I'm working in the healthcare system. And to be honest, the primary station is you, not us. The primary station is you, the common people. If you can keep this at bay, then we will have less workload. Then just imagine we have, normally we have 5 critical patients to care for. Now times that by 20. So how can we divide our attention to 100, let's say? I'm just exaggerating things, but still, you figure the number. So if we cannot divide our attention, obviously we cannot provide good care for all of the patients, right? So do your job at the primary station, stay at home as much as you can, social distancing, and wear mask, wear goggle, do whatever you can to contain the virus if you have it and asymptomatic, or save yourself from it if you don't have it. That's it for my first live stream. So be safe, and good luck to everyone, and we will fight this and we will win it, right? Together.